Hello, America, and this is Black Tuesday Night Live. I'm Charles Ray, and I'm here with
Bobby Joe. On this show, we're gonna. Hey, what are you doing? Come sit down here right now. You know what? I think you young people have a lot to learn, and we're gonna teach you here on this show about American history. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you know, on this show, we like to have a theme for each episode. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a quote from a very famous man I think you all know, Mr. Thomas Jefferson himself. In his quote, he says, "I hold it that a little rebellion now and then is a good thing, and is as necessary in the political world as storms in the physical."
Now, Bobby Joe. I really want to focus on the word rebellion, what it's meant throughout the history of America, and how we Americans really perceive it as. And and we can start naming a few. What would you say?
I think we should talk about the Whiskey Rebellion. More whiskey.
The Federalists are ruining our economy and our government. They took my whiskey.
I am telling you.
Taxes!
Taxes.
Too much.
Too many.
Too many?
I, for one, think
Bad.
federal government has too much power.
Power not good.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not taking that.
People don't understand. We need this money to pay for the Revolutionary War.
Bobby Joe, you're right on with the Whiskey Rebellion. I believe that it's the one and only one that was really important in America. Well, but what do you think? What is the main cause of most rebellions? Let's think about in general.
Well, if I had to say, I think the most important cause of rebellion would be oppression or inequality.
I think so too.
You know what? Would you stop?
No. This is my rebellion.
Now, Bobby Joe, I think we've really neglected the fact that a lot of rebellions have been based on gender inequality.
You
Sir?
know.
Yes, Bobby Joe, come on. Let's go on with this.
Okay. Back to the point. You know what? That's true. Can you believe that women couldn't vote and up until only 100 years ago?
What are women?
You know what? Let's find out. Young lady, come here. Did you know that women couldn't vote until the 1920s?
Good. And this was with an amendment. It took more than 100 years. Like, you'd think incredible.
Do you know any important women who helped give you the right to vote? Well, let's find out.
Sir, can I see your face? Take those glasses off. Who are you? It's a woman! Police officer, come! A woman! Aye!
Who are you, sir? I mean, ma'am.
I'm Susan B. Anthony, and I'm fighting for the right for women to vote because we are all equals in this country.
In this case, we will decide whether Miss Susan B. Anthony broke the 14th Amendment. How do you plead?
I plead not guilty.
Guilty.
Ordered! So, what does the prosecution have to say about this case?
Well, it's in the eyes of everybody. She is indeed a woman. Can a woman vote now? Being an American citizen is not based on gender. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Bobby Joe. Can you believe Americans have been uptight about their taxes throughout all of history?
Right on! You know, that kind of reminds me about Fry's.
Fries, Bobby Joe, what the heck?
Yeah, Fry's Rebellion. Don't you remember?
Oh, darnacles, yeah, I think I do. Is there someone back here?
Hi,
What are you looking for?
I'm searching for the most important rebellion of all.
Have you found it yet?
I think it's under here.
Are you telling me you two don't know? It's the American Revolution, of course. the very rebellion that gained our country independence. Without it, where would we be now?
Reporting live, here we are at one of the historical houses with our news anchor, Sandy.
Hello, Sandy here. Imagine paying so many extra taxes just to own a beautiful house with so many windows. This is the only way Americans could fund their war between the U.S. during the Fry's Rebellion.
The bills I have to pay, ain't it sad? And still there never seems to be a single penny left for me. That's too bad. In my dreams I have a plan. If I got me a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work at all. I'd fool around and have a ball. Money, 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 must be funny in the rich man's world. Money, 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 always sunny in the rich man's world. All the things I could do if I had a little money in the rich man's world.
What else is there? I can't think of any other rebellions.
What do you mean? You have a script right there.
Have you forgotten about the civil rights movement in the 60s and the 70s?
I guess I have, Bob Joe.
Well, I'm just gonna pretend you forgot my name and continue on with what I was saying. But blacks and Hispanics, as well as women, took part in the civil rights movement.
Charles right here reporting live with our temporary reporter, given that our other reporter, Bobby Joe, has a little tummy ache. And well, I'm here with her because I really wanted to expand on the LA riots and how that's also a racial rebellion. What's your take on it?
Expanding on the topic of rebellions, one of the most significant ones was the LA riots, in which Rodney King was brutally beaten by 4 white male officers, and they were not found guilty. It's unbelievable, honestly.
Yeah, and this was caused by something very unreasonable, just because the man was black. Who could believe that? And as we were talking about Black Lives Matter movement, it's obviously still a problem today in modern society. How sad.
Racial inequality is still a big problem in America. For example, the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right, and it's just people always try to make these racial problems about them. Like, it can totally be about one race, about African Americans and their fight for justice, but here come other people who are like, hashtag all lives matter, and I'm just like, wait, this problem wasn't about you.
I believe these forms of rebellions are important in order to advance social equality. You know?
Yeah.
So Charles Ray, I was wondering, has there ever been any rebellions without a cause in America?
Well, there is the upheaval of 1960s during the time of Vietnam, where the U.S. was not really going in there to help the people, but rather for their own personal interests. And I just think that young people were judged by the fact that they were against that war, and it wasn't fair to them because they had their own right, their own freedom to express what they thought about the war. Well, I guess that's what the Whiskey Rebellion was all about, right, folks? This showed what we truly valued as Americans. Am I right, Sandy?
You sure are.
Right.
You know, I really felt like these were very interesting topics today, especially in regards to Thomas Jefferson's quote about rebellions being necessary in the world, you know?
Yeah, I really think that he had a great outlook and perspective on how the world should work.
Yeah, you know, I can really see that perspective, you know, especially with the adults, you know, kind of oppressing or opposing the youth who are actually fighting for a good cause.
Yeah, and that brings to mind one of the movies that was made in 1955. It was actually titled A Rebel Without a Cause. And here, the rebels were obviously the youth who were going against set beliefs of the people. And they were rather, instead of being seen as people with their own opinions, with their own rights, they were seen as people who were irresponsible.
You know, I really felt like we learned a lot of things today, you know, especially with regards to Thomas Jefferson's quote about rebellions being necessary in the world.
I agree, and we'll come back to all the other ideas and great topics of American history.